Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Country Club Leaders Podcast. I'm your host, Leo McMahon. Today we have with us Golf Course Superintendent Adam Thomas. Adam is presently the Golf Course Superintendent at the Lawrence Yacht and Country Club in Lawrence, New York. Welcome, Adam.
Thank you for having me, Leo.
Thank you for participating. We appreciate it.
No problem.
Adam, let's get right into it, Adam. Tell us about your journey in golf and to right up to the present day. How'd you get started in the turf business?
Well, I actually got started. I grew up. My father and grandfather were a member at a private club in South Jersey, Tavistock Country Club. My grandfather has since passed away. My dad is still a member, and my brother is a member, and my nephew's a member. And I played golf there as a kid. And, I got to college. I needed a summer job. And so it made sense just to go down there and talk to the superintendent and see if he had any openings for me. And so I did. It was, it was just pretty informal to start. I just said, walk down to the maintenance shop and introduce myself. And he actually grew up across the street from my dad too. So his family and my family were friends. So he knew who I was. And I told him, I'm looking for a summer job. And he said, yeah, all right, we've got an opening. So I got started. For the first few summers while I was in college, I just worked June, July, and August. And first summer I was there, I didn't really think much of it. It was just a job. But after my first summer, at the time I was at Stockton College, which didn't even have a turf program. They still don't actually. And so I hadn't studied anything relating to turf. My dad bought me a turf book, and it was written by James Beard. I forget the name of it, something along the lines of pretty general turf management for golf courses, something along those lines. And he got it for me because he thought this, I think he saw what Tom did, and quite frankly, just the overall deal that Tom had, and thought, what, I was on the side as far as my major, so I think he thought, this is something that I could do. So he bought me this book to kind of nudge me in that direction. So I started reading it when I was in college, and I found the science aspect of it interesting, and I enjoyed working out in the golf course. So I got back my second summer. I started talking to the assistant, and who I became pretty friendly with, and I said, do you think I should try going into this for a living? And he asked me two questions. He said, do you mind getting up early in the morning? And I said, no. And he said, do you mind working weekends in the summertime? And I said, no. It wasn't obviously at the time my favorite thing to do, but I enjoyed the work, and I was willing to do it if it meant working on a golf course and doing something I enjoyed. So I started from there, taking it a bit more seriously. And from there, once I graduated from college, I went on to the University of Florida, got my master's degree in turf, and enjoyed studying it, enjoyed getting my master's degree. And then from there, started working full-time on a golf course. Went from playing field to Shinnecock to Pine Valley as an assistant. And now I'm at Lawrence as the superintendent.
Nice. What was the name of that paper that you wrote to get your master's?
Evaluating the accuracy of near-infrared reflected spectroscopy in determining tissue concentrations of calcium, magnesium, potassium, and phosphorus. There was a previous study done on nitrogen, and they wanted to see how it did with the other nutrients.
And that was just the title of the paper.
Yes, it was a long title. Yes, and I liked it too, Leo. I liked the study because it was something that was applicable to golf course superintendents. It wasn't something some research is done for other professors or whatever. This is something that, if it works, it's something that can help golf course superintendents better do their job. So that's what appealed to me about that.
Right. Can you tell us about your experience at Pine Valley a little bit? One of the best clubs in the world.
Pine Valley was a lot of fun. Rick Christian's the superintendent there. What really drew me to Pine Valley and what I enjoyed most about it, and it's actually starting to really come in handy now, is they do a lot of projects in the off season. They're as busy in the off season really as they are in the summertime always doing a lot of drainage work, tee construction. We redid the range when I was there. So there was for me, it was something that it could add a bit, not just to my resume, but to increase my knowledge. Up to that point, at Plainfield, we did a lot of drainage work at the tee construction, but not to the level that we did at Pine Valley. There was just always so much going on. They're always doing so much to improve the golf course. And I just thought that would better prepare me for being a superintendent. So that's what really drew me most to Pine Valley. I mean, I grew up in South Jersey, so it was an opportunity for me to get closer to home and be closer to family, and I really enjoyed that. But the opportunity to take part and learn from all the work they were doing there, like I said, all year round, all the construction projects. For me, that was what was most appealing and what was most fun about it, and what I remember most, what most memorable about my time there. But I learned a lot, and we're doing, as I spoke with you about recently, Leo, we're doing a lot of projects right now at Lawrence to restore the course from after some very intrusive drainage was done over the past year. So the knowledge that I took from Pine Valley, I've been able to apply to my job at Lawrence as well.
I think there's a good lesson right there. The best clubs keep investing in their course and their clubhouse, and they just keep trying to get better. They never sit still. They keep moving forward. And it sounds like
Absolutely.
That's what they were doing at Pine Valley.
You can never rest on your laurels. And when Pine Valley is, and I haven't really paid too close attention to the rankings recently, but when I was there, it was usually number one in the country. But I think maybe 1 year Augusta was number one. It's just when you're at that level, when you're number one, everybody's gunning for you, and there are so many other great golf courses. And they can say that those things are politics, but you know what? When you drop down those rankings, people do tend to take it a little personally. So when you're on top,
right,
and everybody's gunning for you, you really have to constantly put into the golf course and look to make things better every single day if you're going to look to stay on top. I think I think maybe staying on top may be more difficult than getting to the top.
And talking about great golf courses, give us a few stories about your time at Shinnecock.
Shinnecock was a beautiful golf course. To be honest, as much as I love Pine Valley, Pine Valley was unique because every single hole was different. I think that makes it unique. But I enjoyed Shinnecock. I enjoyed playing Shinnecock more. My brother felt the same way. I think my dad enjoyed Pine Valley a bit more. But I love the way Shinnecock flowed. It was just a beautiful links golf course. It's just kind of you envision how golf was played, hundreds of years ago in the UK when the game was first getting started. And you kind of, at least me, I always thought envisioned it looking a lot like Shinnecock. Just a classic golf course, a beautiful golf course, plays very well. A real emphasis on. I mean, Pine Valley is the same way in this regard, but real emphasis on shot making strategy. I mean, if you hit good shots at both golf courses, Shinnecock and Pine Valley, it's not really a typical golf course. Neither are exceptionally long for this day and age, unless you're playing from the tournament tees at Shinnecock. The fairways are pretty big. You don't have to hit perfect shots or even great shots. If you hit good shots and you're on the fairway, it's a I wouldn't say easy golf course, but it's a very manageable golf course. But if you have bad shots, both courses, but certainly Shinnecock will really punish you. So it's really a golf course that values strategy and shot making. It's just a beautiful course that I really love my time at very much.
So now you're the number one guy at Lawrence.
Yeah.
I worked with you for a few years, and when I was there, a couple things impressed me. We had one green, I think it was the fourth green, a par 3.
4 green, yep.
Yeah, they had a lot of trouble growing grass on that green, and you came in and it seemed like overnight you turned that green around. What did you do anyway on that green?
Well, the first thing we did, because there was turf losses, we seeded. We split seed in a couple of directions with bent grass, and we kept traffic off until it was allowed to establish. And we did some tree work too, Leo. If you're going to grow bent grass in particular, you need sunlight and airflow, and there were a lot of trees around that green. And as you remember, there were some upset people, and there always are when you do tree work. We're still doing tree work. We did some tree work this past
Right.
year, and some people were annoyed by it, but it makes the golf course better and better. And that was one green in particular where we really cleared out trees around the green to increase sunlight and airflow. We allowed a little time for the turf to establish, and once we did that, we got it on a sound agronomy program, which includes aerating it twice a year and top dressing it, and some light dustings throughout the year of top dressing just to insulate the crown of the plant, and a sound fertility program, a tight spray program. We're covering all our diseases, really just kind of dotting all our T's and dotting all our I's, rather, crossing all our T's. Once we had established bent grass, and bent grass had the sunlight and airflow, we did the tree work. It really was it was just a matter of getting a sound agronomy program in place, and just sticking to the program. Planning in advance what you're going to do for the whole year, as far as what you're going to fertilize with, when, what you're going to spray, when, making sure all planning a year in advance, so you want to. I've always been a firm believer of you want to know what you're spraying. You have to adjust to Mother Nature, obviously. You want to know what you're spraying, map it out the year in advance. Because I've worked for, great superintendents, but they've had strengths and weaknesses, and they weren't always organized. And, when you come in the morning of a spray and you say, what should we spray today? It's kind of haphazard and disorganized and last minute. And, maybe some of your diseases you're not covered for. And so that's how you can invite trouble. So, really just, like I said, getting a sound agronomy program in place, in the off season for the upcoming year. So, there were no surprises. We're protected against all our insect and disease problems. And once we did that, it was just really kind of just putting things on cruise control and being on the greens every day and making minor adjustments as needed.
Yeah, that was amazing to watch. It was incredible. And another project you did when I was there, you renovated the bunkers. Can you go into that a little bit? That was and you did it all in house, which was also amazing.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. That reminded me of my time at Pine Valley, because we did over 2 winters. We did 9 holes one year, 9 the next, and we were working 40 hours a week, 45 hours a week, and busy, all winter long. I mean, it was obviously you don't have the daylight hours, so you can't be out there really long hours in the winter time. But we were pretty much there 8.5 hours a day, every day, working, getting that done. It was a lot of fun. It reminded me of my time in Pine Valley, because we were so busy in the off season. We rented a mini excavator both years. And I'll start by saying, Leo, I had great people working with me. So that obviously, as a superintendent, you want good people around you to make you look better. If you have people that aren't doing their jobs, that don't take pride in their work, then obviously, they can make you look worse than you are. So I'll start by saying I had good people around me both winters. We rented a mini excavator, and we just started by excavating the sand out of the bunkers. Now, some bunkers had drainage, so the bunkers that had drainage, we just checked the drainage, made sure they were functioning properly. There was no clogs or anything. The bunker that didn't have drainage, we added drainage. We did some minor reshaping around the bunker banks, and then from there we just added the topsoil. Added the bunker sand and then sodded the bank. So it was not too in detail, but being that it was me and basically 2 guys with me both years, it was excavating the sand and checking drainage and installing drainage and adding bunker sand and sodding the banks. It was quite a bit of work, but that was basically what the project was. It was pretty focused on doing that, and I think it came out very well. And I tell you, when the first day we got the excavator, Jose and I, my foreman at the time, he actually retired last year, retired out of South Carolina, but the best guy I ever worked with. We both kind of took turns on the excavator, and neither one of us knew what we were doing. So the first year, I kind of got a hang of it a little quicker than he did. And so the first year, I was the guy in the excavator all winter long. But once he got the hang of it in year 2, I found he actually was better at it than me. Well, once he really got his confidence, he was better at it than me. In year two, he was the guy in the excavator. So it was a little touch and go there. First day one, day two, I didn't know if we were going to be able to do it, but we learned pretty quickly, and it was, once we did, it was no looking back.
Now, those weren't billy bunkers, but you put down some kind of substance. What was the deal with that, Adam?
Yeah, that was like a Terry from Valley Crest referred to it as dirt snot. I actually forget, to be honest, Leo. I forget the name of the product. We got it from somewhere down the southeast, and we just we got it. It came in a tote, and we put it in a 10-gallon spray, and we sprayed it along the lining of the bunker before we put the sand in. To be honest, Leo, we actually only did that on some of the bunkers, like 13, 14, 15, 12, 13, 14, 15, the bunkers where we had traditionally more of a rock problem.
Right.
Did it out there on those holes. I actually forget the name of the product. Like I said, Terry referred to it as dirt snot. I had to look through my records to see exactly what it was. It was pretty easy to use. Put it in a 10-gallon sprayer. We followed directions, and I talked with the vendor, the gentleman that sold me the product. He gave me directions, and I followed his directions, and like I said, we put in a 10-gallon sprayer and sprayed it in the bunkers before adding the sand, and it's knock on wood, it's worked out very well at this point.
Great. Can you tell us a little bit about your relationship with Dr. Trey?
Well, Trey has been a mentor, to say the least.
And maybe tell our listeners all about Dr. Trey too.
Dr. Trey Rogers is a turf professor at Michigan State. He specializes in soil science in relation to turfgrass management. He's still there. Michigan State is one of the most respected turf programs in the country. And right from the get-go, Trey and I hit it off. And I have a friend of mine who actually still sells me fertilizer, who's been around. He's a retired superintendent. He's been around for a long time. He actually said to me before Trey got here, he said, I think you and Trey are gonna get along real well. He's a really knowledgeable guy, and you and him just have similar personalities. And I said, all right, well, I appreciate you saying that. And just right from day one, he and I we really clicked. We really had a rapport. He's been a big help. He when Valley Crest merged with Brickman and became Brightview, I guess just made some cuts, and he was one of the people that they didn't keep on. So the last few years Brightview was here, he wasn't making site visits anymore. But I still email him and call him with questions. And I'll say this, when we were closed down during COVID for like 3 weeks, when we were at our peak there in the spring of 2020, when basically the New York area was shut down, we had just got done aerating greens, and our greens were kind of a 50-50 mix of bent and poa. And I thought to myself, well, we're closed down, and the problem with trying to get bent grass to come in on greens, one of the challenges is you're mowing at a low height, and people are walking on all day long. Seed mortality increases. It's more difficult to get the bent grass to establish. And so I emailed Trey. I said, Trey, we just aerated. We're going to be closed down for God knows how long. I can borrow a couple of verticutters, grading verticutters from a friend of mine, of course, nearby. What do you think about verticutting these greens, grading these greens, taking the grading over the greens in a couple of directions, then split seeding in 3 directions, and raising the height of the cut a bit, and obviously no one's going to be walking on because there wasn't any golf, and just keeping the seed moist, and see what we can to encourage some bent grass establishment. And he emailed me back and said in so many words what a great idea. And he said, very proud of you, your desire to make the golf course better. You're always thinking, I'm paraphrasing, this is why I always liked you, and it meant a lot. It just him saying he's proud of me, and him saying like, this is me always wanting to better the golf course is why he always liked me. It meant a lot to hear. So I still communicate with Trey. I still ask Trey questions. He still responds to me. He's been a friend. He's been a mentor, and he's really done a lot to help the golf course out. So it's really just it's been a blessing having him in my corner.
Yeah, he's a great guy. He
Yeah.
actually stopped down. He stopped down and looked at a golf course that I was working at in Florida and gave us some suggestions. And he didn't have to do that. He went out of his way to help us out.
Yeah, well, that's the kind of guy he is. He's a good man and wants to help people out. He loves his job. He loves working with superintendents and GMs, other people in the industry, and it shows because he really is so helpful.
So Adam, tell us a little bit about your mechanic. I know when I was there, it was John. Is John still there?
Actually, God rest his soul, Leo. John passed away this past Thanksgiving, the day after Thanksgiving.
Wow.
He from complications from cancer. It was tough. Yeah, he was. I mean, John was. Some of the guys around, like Vinny the starter, nicknamed him MacGyver, and that was a good nickname for John because he was a great mechanic, but he knew how to just kind of get anything going. And he was a little old school, could be a little prickly, but a great guy. He loved his job, as you know, took great pride in what he did. And really, he and I were a great team. He made me look so much better than I was. And, we have a brand new irrigation system now, Leo, but, during his 2 years old, the old system, as you know, was falling apart. And he wasn't just a mechanic. Right. He would go out there on his own. He would make repairs on the irrigation system, which, if we had the old system now, without John here, I got to be honest, Leo. I don't know. I don't think we would have made it here. He was such an awesome mechanic, but also, like I said, he doubled as the irrigation tech and would do whatever else he needed to do to make the golf course better. He'd go out on Fridays once in a while and cut fairways. I mean, he would take the buffalo blower out there after the fairways, and he would clean off fairways. He was really the ultimate team player, loved his job, took great pride in his work, and it showed, every single day. We miss him.
Yeah, that was the impression I got of him too. It seemed like he was the type of guy, he would do whatever he asked of him. And he always had a good attitude, he never complained, he just did what he had to do and rest in peace.
I agree, Leo. I don't ever. And now that you say that, I worked with John for 10 years. I've been there 11 years now. Actually, even closer to 11 years. A little over 10 years I worked with him. And I don't think I ever heard him complain once. He really just came into work. He did his job. Like I said, he loved his job. He took pride in it. He did his job, and then he went home. It was a joy to work with him.
Yeah, good guy. Good guy.
Yes.
You're going through a renovation right now. Can you explain how that took place and how the need for the renovation arose?
Yeah, so I guess shortly after Sandy, the village approved, I guess FEMA had something to do with it, a drainage that would start in the village outside of the golf course and then run through the golf course and into the bay, right in front of 1 and 10 tees there. What we did was I was able to find aerial photograph of the golf course from 1926. The course was open 1924, July 4th, so it'll be 100 years next July 4th. Based on aerial photograph, we restored the green complex to the original Devo Emmett design.
Wow, it's a lot of timing and coordination.
It is. It's been a lot trying to get all this together. The main thing
that's great. Moving on.
Yeah,
that sounds like a pretty complicated project.
It is.
I asked artificial intelligence to give me 3 traits that a great superintendent would need. And after listening to you, Adam, I think you got all 3 covered. It says attention to detail, flexibility, and communication skills, which all of the projects that you took care of, all 3 of those were involved basically, and you're constantly talking to members, having to juggle your schedule, when things come up that you don't expect. And then you got to make sure everything is being done right. So you got the attention to detail also. So,
thank you, Leo. I appreciate that. Obviously, communication will always be at the top of everybody's list. And I agree with attention to detail. And here's what I'll say just real briefly. One of the the old timers, superintendent, I think it was Westchester Country Club, but one of the big courses in the New York area. He's long since retired. A friend of mine once told me that his voicemail, his answer machine, back when people had answer machines, was something along the lines of, "Hi, this is so and so. I'm not here right now. I'm outside assisting Mother Nature," and that's what superintendents do. We assist Mother Nature. So, I allude to how I have a plan in place every year for what we're going to do on every green. 4 green, 8 green, greens, tees, fairways. But you have to be willing to make these minor adjustments because that's what Mother Nature is going to throw your way. So it's just that's what I've been taught through the years, and so I've been fortunate enough to work with and for good people. So that's really made me much more prepared for the job.
Now, Adam, I always respected you because you worked at Shinnecock and Pine Valley and Plainfield, 3 incredible clubs, and money was really no object at those clubs compared to Lawrence, where the budget is tight. And you had to work for golf course maintenance companies. You worked for Valley Crest, which became Brightview, and now you're working for Kemper. Tell us a little bit about the budget process and how you stretch a dollar, if you can.
Good question. That's one thing I did. Valley Crest did help instill that in me, and that is, really the importance of planning and knowing exactly what's in your budget, exactly what you need, when you need it, and how much it's going to cost, so that you can stretch a dollar as far as you possibly can. Because you have to be able to do more with less in this business. You certainly have to be able to do more with less at Lawrence. So it's something that and I strive to improve every single year, Leo. But it's something certainly you get better and better and better at it because as you get to know the property, you familiarize yourself with the property more and more. The things that are going to go wrong. You know about when you want to fertilize with your polyon or with your organic fertilizers, when you're going to aerate and top dress, what your soil has, so what you're going to need as far as amendments. And I'm taking soil tests every year. So if you know exactly what you're going to need and when you're going to need it, and you year in advance, what everything is going to cost, you can plan everything out. If you can plan in it, again, you have to be able to adjust as things as Mother Nature throws you curveballs throughout the year. But I pretty much do all my ordering, early order, as far as for fertilizers and chemicals, so you can take advantage of the prior year's prices. And I don't know the exact dates because, like I said, these things depend on Mother Nature. And actually, we had a very mild winter, but May was unseasonably cool. So these things impact when you go out there with your polyon, when you go out there with your organics. But we know we're going to apply it, and I know what rate I'm going to apply it. I know what the turf needs. And so it allows me to better, like I said, plan in advance exactly what I'm going to need, exactly how much it's going to cost, so I can really own my budget and shift dollars, reallocate money to wherever it is needed. And I will add, I think the most important component of having running a tight budget and stretching your dollars, having a well-trained staff. That's something I'm constantly working on. I've got an assistant that's homegrown. I didn't hire from outside the, I think he didn't go to school, and the business has changed. There aren't as many turf students, and the turf students we have, generally want to go to a bigger name course. So, my assistant started here making $10 an hour part-time 7 or 8 years ago, and just kind of advanced through there, just showed promise. He kept getting better and better. And I actually just hired somebody last year that's a volunteer firefighter, and he's been on full time all year round. It was here all winter last year. You help us out with drainage work, and he actually just started spraying, and he sprayed greens this morning. Which you constantly have to train guys to do work, because I can't be everywhere. I used to do a lot of spraying before, Leo, if you remember, and I can't do that and still communicate with McDonald and communicate with Winterberry, communicate with members. I need to be out and about, so I've been training him to spray greens. He's spraying greens now, so I have one guy that sprays tees, one that sprays greens, one that sprays fairways, and that enables me to manage this, lead the staff and communicate with members. And the rest of my guys, most of my guys have been with me for quite some time. I have one new guy this year. That's it. Everybody else has been there for a while. They're well trained. They take pride in their work. And, you know, my budget, well over half my budget goes to labor. So when I have a well-trained staff that takes pride in their work and is on time every day and doing what needs to be done, that's really the most important component of running a tight operation. If you have a weak staff that's not taking pride in their job and showing up late or missing work, you're not running a tight operation. But if you have a tight, well-trained staff, which I'm fortunate enough to have here, and it's taken years to get to this point, and we, like I said, we're still not wrestling all the wars. We're still wanting to get better and better and better. That's really helped enable me to run an operation that helps us compete with nearby courses that have budgets that far exceed ours.
Well, when I worked there, that was always the one of the fun parts of the job. I'm a little competitive, and it was always nice to know that you had our greens in better condition than the clubs in the area that had at least twice the budget that you had. And our greens, most of the time, were better than their greens, which was quite an accomplishment on your part, because I knew your budget was small, but right. You did a great job.
I appreciate that, Leo. And that's something, when you have a limited budget, you know, there's really no excuses. You can if you got it, if you have a plan in place and you have a well-trained staff, you can really give our members greens that rival, if not even surpass, nearby courses. You know, that's one thing. It goes back to, you know, getting these greens sufficient sunlight and airflow and getting them on a sound aeration program, and really getting, in the past couple of years, getting more bent grass incorporated in there has enabled us not only to really dry these greens out more and firm them up, which has given us, you know, faster, you know, smoother, truer, faster greens all year round too, especially in the summertime when we maybe had to be a little easier on in the past. We've been able to really maintain speeds in June, July, and August, but also really pushing bent grass has enabled us to reallocate funds to elsewhere on the course too, because bent grass doesn't require, you don't need to spray for summer patch. You don't need to spray for annual bluegrass weevil. You don't really need to spray for anthracnose. You can, you know, keep a lot leaner. They don't require as much nitrogen. So it's really, you know, getting a foundation in place of a sound aeration program and sufficient sunlight and airflow and a good foundation of bent grass on the greens has really enabled us to give them greens that rival our nearby courses, and actually has allowed us to take some of the money we were spending on greens management and reallocate that to elsewhere. So it's been a good experience.
So in closing, let's talk about your top employee, Bolt. How's Bolt doing?
He's doing very well, Leo. He's still a border collie, so he's still a little energetic, we'll say. But you know, he's 10 years old now, so he
explain to anybody who's listening who Bolt is and what his job is.
Bolt is a purebred border collie, and anybody that knows border collies know they're working dogs. The expression goes, if you don't give a border collie a job, they'll find one. And so Bolt, you know, I remember his first day on the job, he was probably 4 months old, 5 months old. He was just a pup. And I was driving with him in my cart down the 8th hole. And at the time, Leo, there were geese everywhere, as you remember. Now at night, maybe they come around other holes when I'm not there. But during the day, if they're on the golf course, they're pretty much around the water on 18 or out on 12 and 13. They don't venture too far off because of Bolt. And we were driving down 8, Bolt and I, later on in the day, like let's say 4 or 5 o'clock in the late afternoon or early evening. And there were people out there playing golf, and he saw some geese, and instinctively he ran after them. And so, of course, they flew away. And members that were out there gave him a round of applause. And it was enthusiastic. They were thrilled. So, and he's a smart dog, so he knew they were happy. He picked up on that. So pretty much his first day on the job, not only did he instinctively know to chase the geese, but as soon as they gave him a round of applause, he always knew what his job It was always. I never had to teach him that. He chases squirrels sometimes. He chases bunnies, but he had a different look, a different stare when he hones in on the geese. Like he knows that's why he's there, and he takes great pride in his work. And he rides around with me pretty much all day and chases the geese. And now he used to kind of run around all day long. Even if I was in the office, he was running around the course. But pretty much now, as you know, Leo, the maintenance shop is right along the fourth hole there, the area right at the beginning of 4 fairway, which is a par 3, right where the rough and the fairway meet. That's kind of his spot. That's where it's right by adjacent to the maintenance shop, and that's where when I'm not, when I'm in the office doing whatever paperwork, planning, budgeting I'm doing, he's right along the fourth hole, just kind of sitting there, hanging out, relaxing, just taking. He's much more, let's say, strategic. He chases the geese when he sees geese. Otherwise, now he's just kind of resting and relaxing and enjoying his downtime. He's not running around nonstop like he was when you were here. But he still loves his job. He still gets the job done. The members still love him. So,
you know what I was thinking, Adam? You've been there 11 years now, and you've seen probably a couple nor'easters, Hurricane Sandy. There was an earthquake there one day. Now you have COVID. Well, you got through COVID. You've experienced a lot in those 11 years. I mean, that Hurricane Sandy was incredible.
Yeah, I mean, we had Sandy, and then a month later we had a nor'easter. There was no power. We had like 6 inches of snow on the ground. It was a very, very unseasonably early snow. It was a lot to go through. I mean, when you're without power, and I had work to do, so I didn't go back to say to South Jersey, stay with family. I was staying in a house with no power in November in Long Island. It was challenging. Thank God I had a fireplace, but between Sandy and nor'easters and the earthquake, and now brand new irrigation system one year, then the next year a multi-million-dollar state funded drainage project. We had to remove the irrigation out of the way and now put it back in. Now doing some. But here's what it's been challenging, but it's for the most part been fun. Here's what I'll say: members love what we've done on the 6th hole. One member, there's what I wanted as far as reception, and what I was kind of hoping for, and the response has exceeded even what I was hoping for. Members have loved the Devereaux Emmett look. They all say they feel as if they're playing a classic golf course. So I'm hoping that now that the board sees that if a little bit of money is put into the place, what the response will be from members. I'm hoping we can really keep this ball going and doing a full Emmett restoration, but we'll see. But it's been challenging, but it's been fun.
So in closing, Adam, after listening to you for a while here, the thing that stands out is your passion for the golf industry, your passion for hard work, and your passion for pleasing the members. And on behalf of all the golfers in the world, thank you and all the golf course superintendents who take care of our golf courses for us, and all the staff members on the greens crew that take care of our golf courses for us. You guys are unsung heroes, and on behalf of all the golfers, I want to say thank you to you and all of your brother and sister professionals. Thank you so much, Leo. It was an honor working with you and for you, and it's been a pleasure catching up with you and speaking. And I really appreciate the opportunity to come on here and speak to you and answer your questions about my craft. And thank you so much for saying that. Your kind words mean a lot. Thank you so much. All right, Adam. Have a good night, and thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you. Bye-bye, Leo.